Okay. Will you speak into your microphone?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent.
Do 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 do. Boop boop boop.
Boop doop doop.
Doop doop boop 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 boop. Meow meow.
What are we?
I don't know, but we're recording is what we are.
No. No. Wow. It feels like just moments ago we were here at the Fic List studios talking about found families, Erin.
Oh, wasn't it though? It feels so good to be back.
It really does. I'm enjoying my time. The scenery outside the windows, gorgeous.
I haven't even stood up.
I used the bathroom, so I have stood up. Yep.
Incredible. Well, welcome back to the Fic List, everybody.
Welcome back.
We are back. My cat has gone back to the living room, presumably because she is sick of us and our nonsense, which makes sense.
You know, true,
honestly.
fair.
That's good. She didn't walk across my keyboard. I was very convinced she would.
She didn't pull out the cord from the back of my mic. I was convinced she would.
Also true. But we're here. We have a new episode for you.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
And you know what, Erin?
What?
It's the AU episode.
Woohoo!
Hey.
Alan, what does AU stand for?
AU stands for Alternate Universe. So basically,
proud of you.
Thank you. Great. The only you gave me the baby term to to define. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome. We gotta set you up for success here. We're gonna build your confidence with little wins.
Oh man.
Oh my god, I'm such a jerk. Anyway,
no.
yes,
You?
Alternate Universe. Stop it. Rude. So what? What's the AU tag for this episode, Alan?
We went keeping in the tradition of this coming out during Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. We decided be gay, do crime.
Be gay, do crime. We're talking Heist AUs. I thought of that at 2 a.m. and sat up in bed and went, be gay, do crime. We're talking heist. And then I think I texted you and I said, can we please, in all caps, can we please do Heist AU because be gay, do crime? And you went, sure.
Yep. I was like, great idea. I love it.
And I have been excited about it ever since. So, happy Pride, fellow criminals.
Yep.
At this table, there is one actual arrested person? Has been arrested, human?
Yes, one.
Okay.
I was very offended and then realized you meant yourself.
I did mean myself. I was going to make people guess who it was, but now we know.
My bad.
It was me. It was me. I was not arrested for a heist.
Don't you wish you had?
No, because I'd still be in jail.
Well, true. We'd be coming from you at a different studio.
Yeah, I didn't really go to jail either. It's fine. But anyway.
But she was booked.
I sat at a desk. In handcuffs.
Well, she was thrown into a vehicle with handcuffs.
That's true. I was at a protest back in the day, and I blocked a door, and the police said, get out of the way of the door. And I said no, because that was what we were there to do, was block the door to Mitch McConnell's office, because he's an asshole. And they said, if you don't move, we're going to arrest you. And I said, I know, I have my bail money. And then they said, you have one last chance. And I said, no, thank you. And then they said, okay, turn around. And then they put me in zip tie handcuffs, and then they walked me down the hallway, and then I got into a car, and they drove us less than a half of a block from the Senate building to the Senate jail. And then I sat at a desk in handcuffs while they took my name and information like the DMV, but worse.
It doesn't get more be gay, do crime than that.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Incredible.
It has nothing to do with the fan fictions that we read for each other, though, does it?
Not in the slightest.
No, but I do love that story. Anyway, be gay, do crime. Let's talk about fan fiction.
Yeah, what do you look for in a heist?
I don't. I don't. No, I mean, Heist AU is fun. It's not something that I actively seek out. I think Heist AUs are just an opportunity for fun and excitement and a little bit of drama, potentially a little bit of angst, potentially a little bit of whump.
You certainly love your angsty whump.
I do like my angsty whump. One day we are going to do whump fic, and then the podcast will end because I will have to crawl into a hole of just shame and suffering and never
I
speak.
will have thrown myself out the window.
Well, I will be so embarrassed to have like actually talked about whump that I will hide under my bed forever.
No.
And you'll just be upset.
I will just be sad because I am a soft boy.
Yes, Alan the soft boy and Erin
TM.
the like oh boy.
Someone please make that a sticker.
So yeah, I don't typically seek out Heist AU, but I had a fun time. I enjoy it.
Nice.
It's fun.
That's great.
If I stumble across it, I'll read it.
Fair.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do you seek out something specific with Heist?
No, I don't think so. I realized I like heist movies a lot, but I don't read a lot of heist, like even in books or anything. I'm just never thought about it.
I really like, not necessarily heist, but like murder mystery and just like mystery in general. And heist can have an element of that to it, where there's that sort of drama of like, are they going to get away with it? It like who, like sometimes it's like who's behind it, who's all that kind of stuff, and that is so fun. Like I think about Knives Out and how fun of a movie that was.
Knives Out,
yeah, I was like, okay, Knives Out was awesome. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is Clue.
I've never seen it.
Oh my god,
I know.
Alan.
Bad Alan. I know I need to see it. I know.
My god, it's so fun. And neither of those are heist movies. They're really murder mystery movies. But like that sort of element of like, ooh, like who done it and like excitement, and it's like, but it's kind of like also like safe. Like it's a pretty contained story usually. Like you know that it's gonna get resolved in some kind of like interesting way, and you try to like piece through it. That's always fun.
I love mysteries as well. Like I love Knives Out. I'm sure I'll love Clue if I ever see it.
We're gonna watch it after this.
I'm sure I'll love it when I see it.
Yep.
And what frustrates me about mysteries is I like to think I'm a pretty smart being. I'm an intelligent human person. But never in my 26 years of life have I accurately guessed the murderer or the killer or the person who stole the thing. I suck at it. And the problem is, it's not really a problem. It's just that I'm so invested in the story. I'm probably like a mystery writer's favorite like audience member. The person who like throws themselves so fully into the story that I'm like, whoa, I'm not trying to think ahead. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm just here for the ride. And then when it happens, I'm like, oh, I never would have guessed. And then everyone turns to me and says, really?
You're just a very trusting, soft baby of a person. And you're like, but why?
I'm baby.
Yep, you are baby. I sometimes get it, sometimes don't. Do you know who always fucking gets it and it's infuriating? Caitlin.
Ugh, Caitlin.
Caitlin's too fucking smart. Well, she also just like, she reads so much and she sees so much, she consumes so much. So she like sees the tropes. I'm usually like solid 50-50. I usually do pretty good guessing, and I usually pick up on the obvious ones.
Nice.
Sometimes I like just absolutely get it, like kind of through sheer dumb luck. But like there's not skill involved in it.
When there's a red herring, I'm out. Like I always go for the red herring. I'm like, there it is. It's so clearly the maid.
Communism is just a red herring, Alan.
No.
that is a reference.
I'm sure.
To Clue.
Oh my god.
Yep. Anyway, we're also not talking about murder mysteries. We're talking about heist AUs. Okay. Do you
like how murder mysteries just pulled a heist on this episode?
Yes. Incredible. Okay, who's gonna start?
Who started last time? You started last time, so then I start this time.
Yeah, you should start this time, and then I'm going to try so hard not to be like, short summary. Longest summary in existence. Felt like such a tool.
I believe in you. You can do it. Okay. So, Erin sent me a fic entitled A Mask of My Own Face. It is by Sabriel, parentheses, the, comma, one, spelled out.
It's not a comma.
I'm so sorry. The underscore one, spelled out, underscore A, underscore M, underscore writer, close parentheses.
Wow.
Do what you will with that.
Yep. It's been a long day.
It's on Archive of Our Own, and it is a She-Ra fanfic.
She-Ra, the Princesses of Power.
not surprising anyone, I have not seen She-Ra and the Princess of the Power, but one of my roommates absolutely loves it. So,
Who is it?
Kanea.
Yes!
Yes.
Kanea!
She loves She-Ra.
Well, I fucking love Kanea, so...
Yes! Shout out to you, Kanea.
Shout out to Kanea.
So, I have some context. And the summary reads, Adora is at a masquerade trying to catch a thief. She knows the thief far better than she should. So this was like a nice little 2-in-1. There's a masquerade AU going on with the heist.
Masquerade! Parade!
Masquerade. Bring down the mannequins.
Oh no!
Don't sue us, Andrew Lloyd Webber, please.
I like that both of us went, masquerade! We don't know the words.
So, yes, the whole setup to the fic is that Adora is, it's not explained. I guess she's just trying to catch Catra.
She's a bounty hunter.
She's a bounty hunter. Thank you. She's a bounty hunter. She's trying to catch Catra, who is like a thief.
Yep.
And she got this.
It is a heist.
You're right.
Yep.
You're so right.
I'm so smart.
This is why you always guess the person correctly at the end of Murder Mysteries. So the setup to Adora being at this masquerade is that she received like an anonymous tip. It was like a little poem type thing, and it says, "The masquerade ball, the 11th hour, the greatest prize." And that's all that Adora gets. And she's like, great, there's a masquerade ball happening here. I think something big is going to happen at 11 o'clock or like right at the end of the night. And the greatest prize. So like someone is tipping me off. Catra's going to try to steal this really important thing, and I'm going to be there to catch her. So Adora is at the masquerade ball, and her and basically it's really cool. The premise is that the masquerade ball is like not just like a social thing in this, or at least this particular one is. It's not just like fancy people putting on half masks, but it's people who are queer and are afraid of being discovered and all of that. So it adds like an extra element of like mystery. And so people are wearing like full face masks, like don't fucking look at me, you don't know me, and so you don't know, so that you have no idea who is under the mask, and you can't, it's a whole down low, so no one can point fingers or like out anyone else. So it was really interesting. So Adora is in a full peacock mask, and she has narrowed it down to 3 people who have Catra's build and dresses, and it's like there's a cat, there's a mouse, and there's a rabbit, I think is what it is.
That sounds right.
And basically she's like, it wouldn't be a cat, too obvious. So she goes for the rabbit, and basically she's looking to see if she can find Catra's like 2 accomplices, one of which is Scorpia, and the other one
I don't remember.
Well, tragic.
Well, hold on a second. We'll find it. Do you know how you would have known that Adora was a bounty hunter, Alan? It is in the tags.
Motherfucker. Stop putting things in tags, people. Stop it. Put it in the fic. Put it in the summary. Enough with your tags.
If you'd read it, you would have known.
Oh, it's a swan.
Oh, a swan. Well, we
yep.
figured it out. Entrapta.
I
should have known
Thank
it was
you.
Entrapta. I fucking love Entrapta.
So Adora has narrowed it down to 3 masks. It's a cat, it's a mouse, and it's a swan. And she's like, can't be a cat. Too obvious. Mouse, cat and mouse game? Absolutely not. Swan, there's that bitch. So she goes for her. So she's following her around, but does not see anyone who matches the like physical like height or build of Scorpio or Entrapta, as who are the hench people for Catra. So she's like, can't be the swan. And then Adora dances with someone in a, don't remember what mask this other person has, but Adora's like, oh, I really should. Fuck, I'm enjoying myself, and like has a really nice time, and it's very cute, and I love that for her. And then it's 11 p.m. and she's like, it's got to be now or never. So she goes upstairs and tries to find Catra, and finds her like at a balcony, just sitting there, and they have a conversation. And Adora realizes that Catra was the one who sent the note. Mm-hmm. So that she would like presumably catch her, and so Dora's kind of having this confused moment, like, I don't know, what does it all mean? And Catra's like, well,
why would Catra try to get caught? That doesn't make any sense.
And Catra's like, figure it out, and goes back to the party, and Adora follows, and so in the last hour between 11 and midnight, because the ball ends at midnight, Adora dances with Catra, and it's like really like, ooh, like, will they, won't they? Catra's a really good dancer, and Adora's really good at following. And the night ends, and Catra takes Adora out the door, and they're like, you know, the insinuation is that they're gonna get it on.
Mm-hmm.
And Adora's like, I get it. I was the greatest prize. You brought me here because you want me. And Catra's like, I want you to join my team because you're good at what you do or whatnot. And Adora's like, no, you want me. And the fic ends with them kissing in a carriage, which is very sweet.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yay. It's a very short, sweet, and to the point situation.
Yeah, exactly. And I enjoyed that. I think there are points that I would have, if I had watched the show, it would have given me more delight, because I think they're like the ball that they are is for a character that I have no point of reference for.
Glimmer.
Yeah, so I didn't get
Glimmer.
that at all.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really fun. It was really cute. Loved the queer, like, nightlife, the underground, like, thing. Not because, you know, I want queer life to be underground, but it's a really cool nod to our history. So loved that, and I thought it was just really cute. Well done. My one thing would be kind of, I guess I like heists to have like a plan, you know, like there's like, this is what we're gonna do, and then you're gonna be hacking into the mainframe while Erin is over there pretending to be a chef, and she's plucking a live chicken.
Where are we going to get the chicken? We don't know.
Inside the chicken, she's going to stuff the USB. Then Marcus is then going to grab the USB and plug that into the mainframe, and then we're in. You know, I love that kind of like progression type thing, which was kind of the only thing that this didn't have. This was very straightforward, but it's a straightforward story, and I appreciated it for that. Yeah.
It's like, it's less of a heist so much as a like... It's really like a bounty hunter situation. Yeah. Like a criminal AU kind of thing. But like, it was tagged heist, so I called it.
It's almost like people don't know how to fucking tag.
Hey. Well, some people don't know how to read tags. So...
That was Erin plucking my feathers.
It was. I took the USB.
No! But that being said, I enjoyed it, and it made me want to watch the show.
Yeah, you should.
Because I thought that their interaction was really cool and really, like, cute.
Yes.
And I'm all for it.
Can I talk about how much I love She-Ra for a minute?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god, I love She-Ra so much. So Caitlin and I watched She-Ra.
Love that.
Because Caitlin was in my COVID bubble, so Caitlin would come over and like that was our thing. And I watched the first 4 seasons solo, and then would like text her and keep up like and be like, this is what's happening, this is where I at. And then we watched season 5 for our combined birthday weekend. Aww. She came over and she'd already seen it. Like it was out, but I hadn't, so we kind of just like hung out and watched it. I fucking love She-Ra so much. It is so a lot of the time in terms of queer representation, like when we talk about there's no queer representation in film, it's like really scant. Like the place where good and interesting queer representation happens right now is in cartoons.
Yeah, animation.
And this particular one written by, it's like Noelle Stevenson's baby, is such incredible queer representation. Like Catradora is canon, spoilers. Ooh. And they do the whole like friends to enemies to lovers progression because they grow up together in the Horde, and they are Horde soldiers together, and they've had this really rough childhood where they've basically been raised to be like child soldiers, but in this like, you know, dystopian like fascist dictatorship thing. And Adora becomes She-Ra. And She-Ra is the like wielder of like the princess power or something. It's been a while since I've seen this. But so Adora leaves the Horde and becomes friends with Glimmer and Bow, and she ends up at Bright Moon, which is like the stronghold of the princesses. And the princesses are going up against the Horde because the Bright Moons represent Etheria, and they are like connected to the magic of the planet. And the Horde wants to destroy them because the Horde wants to take over the planet. So it really sets up the like rebel fighter princesses versus the evil Horde. And so when Adora leaves, Catra like steps up and basically becomes like the right hand. She's spent like her entire life in Adora's shadow, and like she loves Adora, but she's also like, she is a cat. And so, like, she has this huge chip on her shoulder of always being second best and, like, never feeling like she fit in or, like, she always had to, like, prove herself. She's really, like, brash and very angry. And Shadow Weaver, who is like the woman who basically raised both of them, like always, like Adora was the like favorite, and Catra could never do anything right. So Catra's like, I hate Adora. Like, how could she leave me? And like the whole time you're like, Catra, you're hurt. Like what this thing that you're doing, like trying to always catch Adora and trying to always like literally her whole goal is to catch Adora and bring her back to the Horde and like force her to come back. And also, like, use the Horde to, like, take over. She's like, we used to dream about taking over the planet together. Like, why don't you want to still do this? Like, I don't understand why you left me. But she doesn't have the, like, wherewithal to, like, understand that she's deeply in love with Adora. And Adora is a himbo.
Yes! I love that.
Whatever the lesbian equivalent of a himbo is, that's Adora. She's very smart. She's very capable, but she's not the most like emotionally smart. Like she's grown up in this like training center basically. And so she has friends for the first time that aren't like comrades, you know? And so she really falls into this friendship with Glimmer and Bo, and Glimmer and Bo have been raised in this like the history of rebel fighters and all this kind of stuff, and it goes from there. And It's really, really awesome. And what I liked about this fic is that it's kind of an inversion of Adora going after Catra, which does happen at some points in the show, but generally speaking, it's Catra going after Adora. So Adora like seeking out Catra and trying to find her and whatever. And like Adora tries to bring Catra into the fold in Bright Moon as well, in the show. So I thought that was really interesting. Scorpia it's my favorite. I love Scorpia. Scorpia is a scorpion lady.
Of course.
And she is very tall.
Love that.
Very broad.
Nice.
Very strong.
Good for her.
Very pretty.
Ooh.
The sweetest cupcake of a human being on this earth. And just wants to be everyone's friend. But she's never had friends, so she doesn't really understand how friends operate. So she just smothers people with love, which is hilarious because she is a giant scorpion lady.
Yep.
And she looks terrifying.
Yep.
And I love Scorpia. I wish to be Scorpia. I am not Scorpia. I just love her. And Entrapta is actually really fascinating because Entrapta is obsessed with technology, and she is she's coded interestingly. She's often read as autistic or as representative of the autistic community because she is very hyper focused on technology, has no concept of like social interactions, or like she would just as happily live entirely with robots, did live entirely with robots for most of her life in like a very like in her own castle or whatever. And Entrapta like goes through also a very interesting journey in the show where she's a princess, so she's with the princesses. She gets captured by the Horde. She winds up working with the Horde because she thinks they abandoned them. They did not. But she also has no real qualms with it because she's like, I'm building robots. This is all I want to be doing. Nice. Who I'm building it for doesn't really matter. And then she eventually goes back to the princesses, and it's a whole thing. Wow. But Entrapta is fascinating, and I love her too. So it's such an ensemble of like fascinating and well-rounded characters, and it's so queer.
I love that.
It's so good. You have to see it.
Yeah, I think I will.
It's so fun.
I might just watch it, like watch an episode or two before bed.
Speaking of things that you have space for, this is a show you will have space for.
Oh, good.
In your brain and in your heart, because it is not too difficult to watch, and like you can get really into the headcanons of it, but really it's just like it's a cartoon. It's really fun.
Nice.
So I love She-Ra. Please watch She-Ra. And Cachadora is real cute. I tend to read Glimbo.
Of course.
But I don't know why. It's because I really like Glimmer. So I need to get more into Cachadora. But I knew when we were going into this new season, I wanted to incorporate new things.
Yes, well done. Our first new fandom of the season. Yeah.
And I really specifically knew that I was like, okay, She-Ra's on my list of things that I have seen in quarantine and can read fic of and can send you things of and can talk about. So it really worked for Heist.
Love that. So well done.
It would have also really worked for Found Family, actually, but I found a good Heist, so I was like, all right, cool.
Well, not less so, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is all Found Family because Adora also doesn't know who her parents are.
Yeah, but doesn't read through the fic.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. This fic in particular is not a Found Family fic. But there's
sorry. You were talking about the
Found Family. Yeah, there's a ton of Found Family fic in general
on the same
for She-Ra.
page now.
Yep,
got it.
We got there eventually. What would you rate this fanfiction?
3.3 out of 5.
So where are my brownie points?
Those were your brownie points.
Incorrect. To quote David Rose, incorrect. Fine. What was it again?
3.3?
9.
That is a good rating.
It is a good rating, but it's not as...
You act like I didn't constantly get 2.5s and 2.8s out of you. Run the tape.
You right.
I know!
But I don't want to admit it.
Nice. Do you want to talk about what I sent you?
Yes, I do. So you sent me a fic called The Great Pretenders by Peter Parker. Peterparkr.
It makes me laugh.
It's really funny. It is an MCU fic.
Yep.
So that's funny. In a fun role reversal.
Yep.
And the summary says, "Teach me," the kid says. Tony looks over out of the corner of his eye. He brings his hands up behind his head, newly acquired Rolex jangling on his wrist. "I don't know what you're talking about." Or, "Peter's an aspiring con artist. Tony and Rhodey are partners in crime in every sense of the phrase, and Pepper just wants an expensive painting to hang in her house." I love an or summary.
Yep.
You know this. It doesn't even need to be good. It just brings me joy.
I agree.
So that's a pretty good thing. So in this fic, it's also pretty short. Both of us went, it's opposite day today, because normally the AUs take forever to get through.
That's true.
But in this case, we both went short on the AUs and, last episode, long on the general text.
Yep.
So in this one, it sort of starts off, they're on an airplane. They're entering into first class, and it focuses on Peter. And Peter is entering, and it's like, you know, they're like, he's a teenager, kind of vaguely, but like young looking. Mm-hmm. So it's like, could be 13-year-old kid, and Tony's kind of keeping his eye on him. And they're in first class. And Peter is doing this sort of aw shucks thing with everyone around him, right? He's solo, flying, looks young. And he sits down next to his thing, and Tony's overhearing what's going on. And Peter's like, yeah, you know, it was really hard after my parents died, like I'm an orphan. And everyone's like, oh, okay. And like, he's doing the real like, yeah, and then, you know, it's my uncle's funeral this weekend. Like, but he's doing it in such a way that's like getting people to give him things. Mm-hmm. So the lady next to him, is like paying for his lunch. She's like, yeah, I haven't eaten in a couple of days, but like I'm fine. And she's like,
because he's also like, this is my first time on a plane.
I'm so anxious. But he's doing it in such a way that like he's getting stuff. And Tony clocks it immediately. He's like, kid's all right. Yep. And kid's figuring it out. So he's getting like free meals. Someone gives him like cash but he's like to get a car to wherever he needs to go next. Somebody offers to pay for his like hotel. He's like taking him, like he's raking in the goods.
Yep.
And Tony decides to sort of like start one-upping him. Mm-hmm. And what I wrote was, ooh, I am already intrigued. And then I also wrote, are they having a con artist duel in this aircraft? How much room is there in first class exactly? So Tony is talking to his seat partner and basically says like, oh, what a beautiful diamond you have. And she's like, oh yeah. And he's like, Cartier? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, funny. And he's like, oh, the woman is like, oh, you know these things? And he was like, well, I kind of own the joint, which is a lie. Like, right. She's not. And she's like, oh my God, that's so incredible, whatever. And he's like, well, would you like me to polish it for you? Like, you know, I have this, whatever. And so he goes to polish it and he switches it out for a fake diamond and steals the diamond. He also gets up and goes to like the bathroom or something, and in the process, like there's a whole thing where he starts doing like cons very publicly, so specifically so Peter will pick up on it. Mm-hmm. He's trying to get Peter's attention, and he steals a Rolex, as the summary would, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then at some point he like makes a stink about with the waitress, like the air hostess.
Yeah, I think he times it so that a hostess like spills a drink on his suit or something like that, and he's trying to be like, you know, I have to run to the bathroom and try to get this out because this is a really expensive suit. And he looks angry. And so he stays in the bathroom and he times it. And he's like 15 minutes and then they start offering you the good stuff. And so like the airline is offering like, oh, free flights, free
vouchers,
meals.
Anything you want. Yeah. And so he just like waits until he gets a good amount of stuff. Yep. He doesn't push it too long, but he like waits till he gets the good stuff. And then he's like, cool. And then like the stewardess is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he goes back to his seat and he's like, it's fine. Just don't forget the vouchers.
Yep.
And Peter has now clocked what's going on.
Yep.
So he comes over and he's like, good job. And
well done.
He's a child.
Yep.
And he's like, teach me. You got to be my mentor. And Tony's like, I'm not interested in that shit. Get the fuck away from me. And Peter's like, well, you could be let's see, I could be your sidekick. And Tony's like, I don't need a sidekick. I'm not a superhero. And he's like, okay, you could be my teacher. And he's like, you don't need a teacher. Like, get the fuck away from me. So Tony's like, leave me alone. And so Peter's like, I'm going to figure it out, though. Mm-hmm. I'm going to figure this out. So they get off the plane. They disembark. They go off. And Tony's in his hotel. And the next morning, he's sitting at breakfast. He has conned his way into breakfast. And he looks out the window, and Peter Parker is asleep on a bench in front of the hotel. And Tony's like, this kid's gonna get killed. What the fuck? Why has he slept on a bench? He has cash. I saw him steal the cash. What is he doing? You're an idiot. So he walks up to the kid, and to Peter, and he's like, what are you doing? And Peter's like, well, I don't really I try not to steal, do big things. I mostly just kind of Robin Hood stuff, take from people who don't really need it. And he's like, you're a moron. And Tony says, you're a moron. He's like, come on. So he drags him inside, and he's like, you're going to eat breakfast with me. And the maitre d' is like, dude, seriously, you barged your way in here, and now it's and Tony says, this is my son. He's going to eat too. And the maitre d's like, I saw you pull him off a bench. And Tony's like, we could stand here and argue, and then in 5 minutes you could let me in, or you could just let me in now, and it's fine.
Yep.
And he goes, whatever, I don't get paid enough for this. And so he lets him in. So they sit and have breakfast, and in the course of that, they, Peter's like, my mentor, you're my mentor. And Tony's like, no. But he, is feeling it. He's like, okay, I have definitely taken him. And he starts thinking about this person, Harley, who I think was a previous, mentor type person who did steal everything from him, and betrayed him or whatever. He's like, I'm not going to do this again. But he's clearly going to do this again. So they do that, and it's fun. Skip ahead a little bit. I forget how the transition happens. I'm not looking at the fic anymore. I'm trying to do this thing all from memory. It's exciting. So skip ahead a little bit. Rhodey shows up. Yep, there it is. Rhodey shows up, and Rhodey and Tony are together.
Yep.
They love each other. They are wonderful. I did write, okay, but where is Tony? And then, or where is Rhodey? I have concerns. And then, literally a second later, it's, oh, thank God. Hi, Rhodey. So Rhodey shows up, and he's like, I see what's happening here. You're, falling for this kid's shtick of, being, bashful, whatever. And he's like, all right, I guess we're gonna do it. And it's fine. And then they have a conversation with Pepper. Tony and Rhodey have a conversation with Pepper, and Pepper is like, look at this artwork. And they're like, okay, that's a nice artwork. What about it? And Pepper's like, I want it. And Tony's like, I guess we're stealing this artwork for Pepper's birthday.
Yep.
So they go through sort of their list of, this is a separate conversation. Peter's not around for this. And Tony's going through his list of people. He's like, well, we could call this person. We could call Happy. And they try to call Happy, and Happy's like, fuck off. And they're like, oh, he must be mad about the last job still. I guess that's not going to work. And then Tony's like, I know a kid. Rhodey's like, don't do it. And Tony's like, it's too late. So he calls Peter. And he's like, do you want to do a job with us? And Peter's like, yeah, of course I do. It's weird that I'm so excited about this. Am I? And he's like, no, it's fine. So they set up this whole plan. And then what I wrote was, an art heist? It's an art heist, y'all.
Yep,
They're stealing the painting from the Met.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fun. So they set up this whole plan. Peter's basically going to be the getaway driver. He doesn't know how to drive, so Tony teaches him very quickly how to drive. And Tony and Rhodey and Pepper are all going to do this intricate sort of thing where they distract the guards and go and get the painting and leave with it, whatever.
Yep.
It goes to shit.
Yep.
Instantly, of course it does. Peter winds up ditching his post as the getaway driver, but distracting the guards and saving the day. But he gets locked in a supply closet. He can't get out, he's pinned. So at the start of the heist, Tony had looked at him and been like, lesson 1, what do you do if this goes wrong? And Peter was like, and Tony was like, you get in the car and you leave. There is no honor amongst thieves here.
Yep.
You go, and there's no sense in all of us getting arrested. You should get out. And he's like, no, I wouldn't do that. And Tony's like, I would. I don't know what you're talking about. So, Peter's pinned in this closet. He's like, fuck, I'm screwed. And Tony comes to get him. And Tony saves him. And they do one last con where they get out of the MoMA. They make it such that, after everything goes to shit, Peter saves it. They get the painting. But Peter is pinned. So Tony goes and gets Peter out of the closet, and then he's like, all right, just trust me on this. So he goes downstairs and he pretends to be a security guard. Yeah. And with Peter is his son or his stepson. And he's like, oh, this shitty kid, all this stuff happened, and he was just supposed to come with me to work today, and now all this bullshit, and I have to get him home, blah, blah, blah. And the cops buy it. Yep. So they all get out scot-free, and clean and clear, and they get in the van and they go, and they did it.
Yep.
And Tony's like, oh my God. And Peter's like, oh, you came back for me. You said you wouldn't, but you came back for me. And Tony's like, shut up, kid. Yeah, I did. Yep. And so, they pay Peter his $15,000. And Peter's like, what? That's a lot of money. Because he and Aunt May do not have a lot of money. So that's why he does what he does. Tony talks a little bit about his background and how he got into it, how he was disowned by Howard and he found Rhodey, and then they were accustomed to a certain lifestyle. So they started stealing, and they've been life partners ever since. And it was super cute. And it was successful. And they did it. I wrote, this was fun, and also the definition of be gay, do crime. LOL. So I had a great time.
Great summary. Good job.
Thank you. I tried to keep it short. I was thoroughly delighted by this experience.
I'm glad.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
I have no complaints.
Excellent.
It was like, was it the most incredible like thing that I've ever read in my life? No. Was it like super fun? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a good time? Mm-hmm. Was so this is not a critique of the fic in particular. I don't come for me. I don't love Tom Holland in general.
Oh, okay.
I have far too much loyalty to Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. And I understand, so Peter Parker is a young character. Mm-hmm. It makes sense to cast Tom Holland because he's young. But he just reads like a child to me, which this fic takes advantage of. Sure. But it drives me nuts. I hate it. He just reads too young. And like, so I'm like, you're annoying in the way that teenage boys are annoying.
I see.
It is totally a good character choice. It makes sense.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Doesn't jive with you.
I don't like teenage boys.
Yep.
Like, I find them very annoying.
I think that's fair.
Yep. I mean, does anyone actually enjoy spending a lot of time around teenage boys? No offense if you're teenage boys
listening to this.
Yeah. I mean, also teenage girls can be awful too. Like sure.
No offense if you're a teenager listening to this.
In general, yeah. But like, I'm like almost 30.
Yup. Like, don't like that sentence.
I know. I can like recognize those behaviors and be like, this is not a thing I want to like spend my time like around. Even though I was obviously a teenager once. Sure. So Tom Holland drives me a little nuts.
I see. That makes sense.
It's a very good character choice.
Yeah.
And it very much tracks for Peter Parker, and it makes sense, and I understand it. It's just, so that coming through a little bit, I was like, interesting that this fic would go that route with him and be like, oh, he's young, but he looks young, but he's actually 16. And like, he's playing younger than he is to the like, aw shucks thing, and like, it works for him. I thought that was really smart and really clever, and I just had a good time. Like,
that's awesome.
It was super fun.
Yeah. I think that's a good age to heist, like anything, you know, like I think I really love heist movies, particularly like the heist compilation, like when the heist is happening. Yes. So good. Ocean's 8 was the last heist movie I saw. And it's like a summer movie, you know? You go to the movies and you're like, the stakes are high and you're like, will they, won't they? But you know they will. And it's like all cool at the end. I enjoy that. I
don't tend to watch heist movies, but what I have been watching a lot of is heist and like crime documentary.
Oh.
So if specifically, have you seen This Is a Robbery on Netflix?
No.
Alan, it's so good. So this particular documentary is called This Is a Robbery, and it's about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Art Museum theft of 1991, which is the largest unsolved art theft in history.
Is this the one where the artist is like interacting with the thief?
No.
Okay, never mind.
So, good try. This one, so basically the gist of this one is the night guard, so it's like 1 a.m, midnight, whatever. The night guard lets in these 2 quote-unquote police officers.
Okay.
And the police officers are like, okay, we gotta be let in, somebody called, whatever. And they go, wait, we have a warrant for your arrest. Come around the table. Oh. So they arrest the night guard, and the secondary night guard comes around and also gets arrested. And as they're being like handcuffed and like put in the basement, they're like, this is a robbery.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I mean, the guards were fine. It's a whole thing. Basically, these 2 people like went in and stole these very specific paintings, and it doesn't make any sense, the stuff that they stole, because it was like really specific, like Rembrandts and like a couple of like small little things. They didn't go for the most high value paintings. They went for like 1 in this room, 2 in this room, this finial off of a flagpole that was worthless.
Wow.
But they like took the time to steal it. So first of all, no one has any clue who these people were. No one knows why they took what they took. And those artworks have never been found, which is uncommon in art theft.
Yeah.
Normally the pieces show up eventually because they get traded away for like drug money or something. Of course. None of the works have been found ever.
Wow.
So it's this incredible 4-part documentary about what happened.
Interesting.
And all the theories about it and like whatever. So I love that. I love that shit. I think it's fascinating. I got really into it. I had started down a true crime, like murder path for a little bit, and then I was like, this is freaking me out. And so the heist version of it, that was like way more fun.
I love that for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I never think about in true crime documentaries.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that documentary.
Nice.
Watch it. It's super fun. Also, I work in a museum now, and I think about that all the time.
True. Yeah. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I have this new job at a museum, like a true art museum, which is not a place that I thought I would ever find myself, but it's awesome. Nice. And so watching that as somebody who now has a little bit of knowledge of what a museum entails, all those things, I'm like, how the fuck did they do this? I mean, I know it's the 90s, but Jesus. So yeah, it's fascinating.
Awesome.
Yeah. So when I got that this was an art heist, I was like,
yes!
My favorite kind of heist. So
amazing.
you picked well.
Oh,
this
good.
round,
I'm glad.
buddy.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. What would you rate it?
A solid 4.
Nice.
I had a good time.
Okay.
I'm gonna be generous this season.
I love that for us.
I've also been well fed, so
true. Delicious veggies.
Yep. Kielbasa makes me nice. Chocolate chip cookies make me mean. Kielbasa makes me nice.
I want that on a t-shirt. Yep. Kielbasa makes me nice.
Yep.
That's
the whole
really
episode.
Short and sweet and to the
God.
point. Yep.
We needed that.
Oh man, no fan rec this episode, y'all.
No, we're gonna probably alternate or just pick, maybe one
every few episodes or something.
One a recording session because it starts to get too long. But this was very fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. This was a great end to a Pride Month, I think.
Yep. Be gay, do crime,
Be
friends.
gay, do crime, friends.
I do. I painted a watercolor that says that.
I know, it's in your bathroom.
It's in my bathroom.
I saw it. I love it.
It's my favorite thing. Speaking of, Hosier, if you want to be on this episode.
Hosier, please.
I think about him saying be gay, do crime at least twice a day.
Hosier, please.
Please be on this episode. So, speaking of, if people want to get more involved or otherwise interact with our podcast, Alan, how should they do that?
Twitter. Our Twitter is really the place if you want to hear back from us.
Yep.
That is the place to go. We also have a Tumblr that is run by the incredible Caitlin, and she does an amazing job of it. Thank you so much, as always.
I don't know how I will ever repay you for your genius, but thank you.
Come over, we'll feed you kielbasa, he says. Not at his place.
I did.
Not his kielbasa.
She was over for a cookout the other day.
Okay,
and I did feed her kielbasa.
Well, she's been paid. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Caitlin.
I also made burgers, and she said hers was too overcooked.
Oh, there's some tension.
Caitlin,
explain yourself.
This is our first official. What is it? When beauty YouTubers throw shade at each other. What's it called? Do we have beef? Do we have beef? It was a burger.
Beef about the burger.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Caitlin. It's fine.
Incredible.
I was real bitterbust about it for a hot minute, though. I was like, if someone makes you a burger, you just eat it.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Don't tell me your opinions. Tell me it's good and move on.
So Twitter if you want an answer, Tumblr if you want to see the amazing work Caitlin is doing. We do have a Facebook. Pretend you didn't see it.
Don't go there.
We have an Instagram, might be in use. Who knows? Yeah. We have a Ko-Fi now. Coffee, whatever it's called.
Kofi.
Tapa. Yeah, so which you do not feel that you have to. It's not like we're it's just in case you have some money and want to help us offset the costs of doing the show.
Yep.
We would really appreciate it.
Yep.
You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcast, perhaps,
Maybe.
if that's a thing.
We still haven't checked. We could have taken a break in between recording and checked, but did we?
Where's the fun in that?
No, we did
We're
not.
on SoundCloud. We're on Podkite, Podbean, so many things. Please rate us, review us, follow us on any platform that you use, just so that other people can get a chance to experience
major
it.
Podcasts can be found, we are also tagging along like the kid sister that no one asked to show up.
Very true. Erin, what can people do if they have any recommendations for us?
They can send us fan recs via the Google Doc that is pinned to our Twitter page. Please send us your recommendations. We are trying to incorporate them into episodes, as you likely heard if you got all the way through the last episode. And it's super fun because it also helps us with new tags and new fandoms that we wouldn't have done otherwise. So definitely send us your recommendations. It can be something you wrote. It can be something you like. Mm-hmm. It can be something that you just think would be interesting for us to talk about. Whatever you feel led to include. Also, if you want to read along with us, we do have a rec list of our own, which includes the links to every single fan fiction that we have talked about in all 3 seasons now of this show. So if you want to do a little read along, it's like a little book club list. It's like little Oprah's list for fan fiction. We do it's also just the information for the fan fiction. So you can you don't have to, if you want to just read stuff. We didn't put our ratings, quote unquote, or anything. Yeah. Our ratings are ridiculous, by the way. It's literally just how we feel in the moment. There's no rubric.
Yeah. It depends on whether or not we've had kielbasa that day.
Honestly, there's don't put too much stock in it, but we don't put any other that information in there. It's truly just the fan fictions. That way you can read them and enjoy them along with us.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the best ways to do that. That's fun.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm gonna go do something else now.
Yeah, I think the time has come.
Yeah.
Stay tuned though.
Yeah. For
more episodes, more guests, or actual guests starting. Just actual. We have not had guests.
We might have had a spirit guest. You never know.
That's true.
My house is probably haunted.
And on that lovely note.
And on that note, goodbye, friends.
Adios.
Bye.